A new $2,000 fourth federal level stimulus check to go out to everybody in the nation in 2023. Take a look at this article. Just came out 2 hours ago from the time of this recording today. Stimulus update. Will slowing inflation take stimulus aid off the table for 2023? I'm going to be covering all the details, but I'm going to spoil it for you right now. They're saying no, it is not off the table, despite the fact that we've had promises for over 2 years for a $2,000 check that have gone unfulfilled. They're going to be given the reason why this is still a possibility and a strong one in 2023. Now also, stick with me throughout this video and stick around to the end because I'm also going to be covering for you January stimulus checks going out in various states right now and also spilling over into February. So that way you know everything that's available for you and your family. Now I'm going to be linking this article in the description below if you'd like to read it for yourself. I'm going to put it on the screen, read right from it so you can see that it's the latest just coming out today. And if you appreciate that, do me a quick favor, smash the like button for me. Just takes a second. And if you want to stay up to date to know what's available for you and your family, hit the subscribe button, turn on the notification bell. I'll keep you up to speed as the news rolls out so you know what's happening with stimulus, Social Security, our economy, Congress, legislation, so you don't miss out on anything. But with that being said, you guys, let's go ahead and dive right in, get you caught up on the latest with stimulus checks. Now, first off, if you're thinking, Steve, there is no way that the current Congress that is split would come to an agreement on providing more funding for a fourth federal level stimulus check. Well, if you said that, I probably would not necessarily agree with you. It is very unlikely. However, I would let you know that there still are leftover stimulus funds from previous packages just sitting there that were meant to go out to help out the American people. And these could be tapped into to use for stimulus provisions. Take a look. This is from the Committee for a Federal Responsible Budget. And this is the COVID money tracker where they track all the funds that went out for the pandemic. I'll link this in the description below for you as well. And you can see here the orange bar, legislative action, $6 trillion was set aside to go out to help out with stimulus provisions. Of that, $5.5 trillion has been distributed, which means there literally is $500 billion left over just sitting there that could be used, and that is still enough to send out a $2,000 fourth federal level stimulus check to everybody in the nation. So even if Congress can agree on legislation for new spending, and Congress holds the power of the purse, the president could use executive actions to reallocate existing funds, not new funds, funds just sitting there to go out in some form to help out with the pandemic. And we have actually seen this before with former President Donald Trump, who did the LWA program to enhance and boost and extend out those unemployment benefits during the pandemic. So it's been done before, it can be done again, but it must be done in the correct way so there's no legal issues like we're currently seeing right now with the student loan debt forgiveness that was done by executive action by the president, which is currently being challenged. But this is a possibility, and just wanted to let you know there still is funding available. Now, this article that just came out says, will slowing inflation take stimulus aid off the table for 2023? Now, the article says that inflation was a major problem for consumers in 2022. In June of that year, the Consumer Price Index, or the CPI data, which measures changes in the cost of consumer goods, rose 9.1% on an annual level. But thankfully, the pace of inflation has slowed steadily since then. And in December of 2022, the CPI came in at just 6.5%. Now, that's still a pretty high reading on a historical basis, but it's considerably lower than 9.1%. Now, clearly, cooling inflation is a good thing. If it costs less for people to function and cover basic living costs, they're apt to start struggling less and racking up less credit card debt. But will easing inflation take stimulus checks off the table for 2023? Inflation isn't all that relevant. It's a big misconception that inflation is what dictates whether stimulus checks hit Americans' bank accounts or not. Rather, stimulus aid hinges on the state of the economy, namely unemployment and consumer spending. Now, when jobless levels are high and consumer spending starts to decline, lawmakers can use stimulus checks as a way to pump money into the economy to give it a little bit of a lift that it's needed. When unemployment levels are low and consumer spending holds steady, there's generally no need for stimulus checks. Why would there be? That's why cooling inflation levels won't necessarily take stimulus aid off the table for 2023. But to be clear, inflation has little to do with stimulus checks, so whether it's high or low is almost irrelevant. That said, the fact that inflation is easing is definitely good news for consumers. Case in point, an item purchased in 2020 for $40 would have costed more than $45 in 2022 based on inflation, and that is a massive jump. It's too soon to apply similar numbers to 2023 because, we have just started off the year and we don't have a fresh inflation data information just quite yet. January's data, for example, won't come out until February. But either way, slowing inflation is a good thing. And anyone who's bummed out about not getting the stimulus check could realize that relief from soaring living costs might go a lot further than a one-time payday. So, are 2023 stimulus checks definitely a no-go? Not necessarily. There's always a possibility of a recession, and we're hearing that this is becoming more and more likely, and I've let you know here on the channel several times that if we hit a recession, they are saying we are very likely going to be getting another stimulus check. Something that nobody wants, though, is a recession. Financial experts have been warning of one for months now, so we can't write off the idea of economic conditions worsening to a notable degree. Now, in that case, a stimulus check could come into play if jobless levels begin to skyrocket, but that's obviously not something anyone should want. That said, cooling inflation may be a sign that we're going to be able to avoid a recession. If the pace of inflation continues to slow, the Federal Reserve might pump the brakes on its aggressive interest rate hikes. That could make it so consumers aren't forced to slash their spending drastically. And if spending holds steady, we can probably avoid an economic slowdown. So all told, easing inflation is a very good thing, even if it doesn't lead to a specific sum of money in individuals' bank accounts. So as you guys know here on the channel, you will never hear me say, yes, you are 100% going to get a fourth federal level check, and you'll never hear me say, no, there's no possibility of a check, because one of the things that I feel like we've learned over the past couple of years is Congress literally can flip day to day, and we never know what's going to be happening with the economy or what could unfold. So I will do my best to just make sure I keep you guys up to date on news as it rolls out. I'll let you know what's happening with Congress, stimulus, the economy. Now, in addition to that, though, as I mentioned, I've let you guys know that there are several stimulus checks going out right now on state, city, and county levels. There's different levels of which some of these are going out to eligible individuals for low income, some for Social Security. There's an assortment of different ones, some for mothers, all kinds of different ones. I will keep you guys up to date, and I've compiled a list at www.reliefroadmap.com if you want to access that. And also, I've just recently did a video on stimulus checks that are going out right now in January for states and some rolling into February. Now, if you want to get updates on that, be sure to check out this video right here as I cover it in detail. And also, I'll do more updates as they roll out, as we're getting word of surplus funds, leftover funds on state levels that are available to help out people. So check out this video next, you guys. Smash the like button if you haven't already. Subscribe to stay up to date, and I'll catch you in the next one. Take care. God bless. This is Steve.